Learning goals and success criteria are critical pieces of information students need to be successful learners. Students and teachers must hold a common understanding of what is to be learned and what successful achievement looks like. With explicit goals and criteria, students have the beginnings of what they need to become independent, self-monitoring learners. Learning goals are brief statements that describe for students what they should know and be able to do by the end of a period of instruction. The Ontario curriculum identifies the knowledge and skills that students are expected to acquire. When teachers transform expectations into learning goals, students are empowered to be more active participants in the learning. Like the specific expectations, learning goals represent a subset of the knowledge and skills students must master to successfully achieve the overall expectations. What makes a learning goal effective? Here are some things to consider.
We started with the overall expectations and the specific expectations for this particular unit, dealing with simplifying polynomial and rational expressions. We first of all have to look at what is the knowledge and skills that the students need and how we're going to get to that point.
Overall expectations first.
Okay, so the overall expectation is this one: manipulate numerical and polynomial expressions and solve first-degree equations.
No.
Okay, but we're not doing first-degree equations, so just manipulate numerical and polynomial expressions.
The specific expectation says add and subtract polynomials with up to 2 variables using a variety of tools.
Having identified the knowledge and skills to be addressed, teachers consider the scope of the specific expectations. Sometimes, even specific expectations need to be broken down into smaller increments so that learning is appropriately scaffolded.
So we're simplifying, then we have to add or subtract to simplify. So before they can simplify, they have to
group like terms.
But then they can't group if they don't know like and unlike terms.
We have to teach them what a polynomial expression is.
Okay.
We need to identify what is a term.
So basically those steps then would be our learning goals for this lesson, which is to ultimately manipulate these expressions, and that's how we're going to get there.
Unpacking the overall and specific expectations can result in a progression of incremental learning goals, which build students' knowledge and skills so that they can achieve the expectations. When knowledge and skills are broken out and scaffolded into individual elements, students and teachers are able to assess more accurately what they are doing well and where they should be focusing their efforts to improve.
So by focusing in on one specific criteria or one specific learning goal, it allows me to pinpoint where the student's strengths and weaknesses are. From there, we can do quick little checks, whether it's circulating through the class or whether it's a quick little exit card on the way out to see, yes, I meet that learning goal, or no, I don't. Well, again, looking at our learning goals from this unit, we've been working on for the last few days things such as adding and subtracting polynomials, multiplying polynomials.
It's critical that students and teacher share a common understanding of the learning goal. When developing the goals, pay careful attention to the language.
When we're writing our learning goals, we want to make sure that it's going to be in a language that the students are going to understand. Often many in the mathematics expectations, they're very complicated and they're sometimes written in language that the students don't or aren't able to grasp. So we often will rewrite the expectations in a simpler language for the students. In this particular case, the simplifying, do they know what it means to simplify polynomials? That simplifying is a key word because it's a key descriptor that they will find when handling these types of questions or problems. Hopefully when we're finished, they will be able to tell me what that means in their own language.
So Nat, now that we've got the learning goals up there, are they meaningful to the students? Are they in the right language? Do you think they're going to know what they mean?
Well, so we've used words like identify. They know that.
Yeah.
They like and unlike terms, probably not, but that's part of what we're teaching them today. So I guess that's okay. They'll probably ask us questions. That's a good thing. Grouping, they know how to group. And I think it's really important to keep the word simplify in there because that is a critical word.
Pay particular attention to the verb. It needs to be something specific and observable. Abstract verbs like understand or appreciate make it difficult for students to have a clear target of what they are striving to achieve.
It must be phrased from the student's perspective.
I agree. That's why I have up on my board, by the end of class, I will be able to do something, or I will know, or I will explain, I will identify, to make it personal for them.
Some specific expectations do meet the criteria for learning goals and could be shared with little or no alteration. Here's a specific expectation from Grade 7 Science and Technology, Understanding Matter and Energy. Identify the components of a solution. The statement identifies the knowledge the student is to demonstrate. The verb is specific, and the student will be able to determine whether the goal has been met. The learning is clearly defined in language appropriate for most intermediate students. Note that the subject-specific vocabulary, which is part of the learning for students, is maintained. The statement is brief and concise. And when it is shared with students, the teacher will rephrase this from a student perspective as, I am learning to identify the components of a solution. Finally, the statement identifies an incremental step in a progression of learning. Here are some learning goals which identify additional knowledge and skills to build student understanding.
It's an integral part of my lessons every day. Not just to have the learning goals, but to discuss them with the students before we begin, so I can identify which students grasp what we're talking about that day and which students need that further explanation so that they're going to be on track for that day's lesson.
A viewer's guide has been developed to enhance your professional learning while viewing this video. The Learning Goals and Success Criteria inventory in this viewer's guide is intended to help assess your current practice, guide your professional learning, and measure your growth over time as you continue to use this resource.